Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Just looking at the crypto markets today. So all eyes on tomorrow. I forget exactly when the Fed interest rate decision is. It's like 1 p.m., right? Eastern. Let me just look it up real quick. But everybody is paying attention to that tomorrow. Um, so what time is it? It's 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. All right. So the market seems to want to dump until then. So for the past few days, pretty much all of this week, since, well, yesterday was just Monday, today's Tuesday. Today has been dumping. In general, I think I've noticed that whenever we dump into the Fed decision, then if the FOMC interest rate decision is neutral or positive. In this case, neutral would be uh, what we expect, which is for the interest rate to stay the same. Then, and if it's positive, it means that we get a rate cut. So it's like a positive surprise because we didn't expect any rate cut. If it's neutral or positive, then I think it will pump the market. But if it's negative, meaning that if Fed raises interest rate, which I don't think is likely at all whatsoever. In that case, then the market might dump. Uh, but another thing about negative outlook is that the Fed will also talk about what they're expecting to do in the future. So if in the future they are planning to do less rate cut than they've previously forecasted, then that could be also seen as negative. So whether they cut the interest rate or not, or raise the interest rate, that's only partial. That's only part of it. So it's also the outlook of what they're planning to do in the future. So when the market dumps ahead of the meeting, what I typically see, I could be wrong about this, but what I typically see is that if it's neutral or positive on the rate hikes decision, then it's probably going to bounce to the upside, or at the very least, it should just consolidate sideways and respect certain strong supports. So I have the support line right here. Um, I think Bitcoin is probably gonna touch this support line and then possibly bounce up. Or it could crash down. Anything's possible, right? It could crash down to this lower support right here, or maybe even lower. Who knows? Liquidation heat map on Bitcoin. Let's see here. Seeing some liquidity in the $98,000 level. And just looking at the higher time frame, uh, so $96,000. There's a lot also down here. 96 to 95,000 would be probably uh, a target that the market makers might be wanting the price to go to liquidate more long positions. So 95,000-ish area. It's around this area. So be aware of that. So 96 to $95,000 zone. I would say, yeah, this little pocket right here is where I might be looking at Bitcoin to hit if this dump continues. All right. And this is having really negative impact on the altcoin market. Some altcoins are pumping, uh, including Spell. Um, So I'll take a look at this right now. I actually have spell uh some position in it. I actually entered spell at this candle right here when there's a green dot on the market cipher. Um, I was looking at this trend line that I drew from previous high level. So like from this wick high to this wick high here. So when I bought it here, I saw the pump upwards into this resistance here. It closed above it, but then it dumped below it. Um, and then now it's pumping above. And if it closes really above the opening of this candle right here, then that's a very bullish sign. And even if it closes slightly below, say right above this trend line here, then I'd say that's very bullish. But we'll see how this goes. Like this literally could dump and close below this line, then that could be seen as a rejection, and I might exit some of my position then until further information, especially what happens tomorrow. Um, and then let's talk about CFX. Oh, actually, before I move on, so if it closes bullish up over here, um, we got to also realize that this is just a very, very strong resistance. So if it closes above this, like it might not shoot up immediately. It might still be sort of trying to get above this level. So there's a heavy resistance that, um, which means that this might not even be a very good entry point, honestly. Like if you enter down here, that's fine. Keep holding, but if up here might not be the best entry point since it's still hitting a strong resistance up here. But if it wants to rocket up, especially if the market turns really positive tomorrow, uh, then we could be looking at potential price target of just looking at the VRVP, about 45 cents right now. It's at 45 cents from here. Would be, well, no, that's 45%, sorry. It's a lot more percentage. 45%, 45 cents would be 160% pump from here. So that's the target I'm looking at. I also want to take a look at Swift coin. I believe that's what it's called. So I got into this coin. When did I get in? Probably around this area, like somewhere below. I forget exactly. Either here or here. I might have gotten in here. No, probably even before that, honestly. No, yeah, I'm quite sure I got in around here. Uh, Probably I saw this like green dot right here. So, um, yeah. So money flows green on this one, and then you got like two green dots pretty much next to each other. So that's pretty bullish sign. So if you got it in anywhere around this area, that's really good. So I let it pump. Let's just say about 300% in 10 days. And I actually set a bunch of sell orders like along the way. I think like what 1.5 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents, 3.5 cents, and so on up there. So I had a lot of sell orders along the way. Each of the sell orders is about 10% of my position. So that's a good chunk that I sold. Then when I saw this big red candle just closing, like looking at like this with a big wick on the top and this smaller wick on the bottom. This just seems like a really bearish candle to me out. So I'm like, right when this closed, I sold most of my position on this one. And now it's dumping. So that was a good call by me. I still hold a small amount of position because I think even though we're gonna go through some correction for this coin, I do think there's gonna be some bullish setup in the future for this coin because this coin is actually ISO. Uh, I hope I'm saying this correctly, but ISO 20022 thing. I don't know how to describe it, but that's basically what XRP is. Uh, let me just look it up. I don't want to explain it wrong. ISO 20022. So ISO 222 or 20022 is an international standard for electronic data exchange between financial institutions. And most notably, ISO blah 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 is what XRP has, and this is why XRP is being selected as the main coin that big institutions like banks are using for cross border payments. And because XRP is such a huge um, narrative right now, any other coin that fits in that category is also pumping. So if you can look at the list of ISO, yeah, that's what it's called, compliant. Cardano, Stellar, IOTA, Quant, XRP, Algorand. Also, HBAR is part of that too, and so is Swift Coin, and I think that is why it's pumping. And if you look at XRP, yesterday when everything was dumping, XRP did dump for a bit, but now it closed. Yesterday it closed at a green candle, huge bullish hammer candle. Now it's slightly correcting, but it's holding up so well compared to other coins. If it dips again, honestly, I'm gonna buy more XRP. I have a spot position, but I might start leveraging my position. Uh, especially I there's some position that I'm going to exit to probably possibly today, and that's CFX. And I did talk about this coin yesterday. I thought it was going to pump, just looking at the technicals, and now it's looking actually quite bearish. I didn't expect this at all. Just looking at yesterday, it was pumping on large volumes on the green candle, and a green dot right here on the market cipher. Uh, Now it's got this big red candle, and look, it might still close above this like trend line right here. This is really my make or break moment. If it closes below this trend line, then I'm gonna exhibit this position and possibly even short this coin right here. Because I've seen a lot of times when, certain coins close below certain trend lines, then it starts dumping right afterwards. So this might be a good short hedging position. So yeah, I'm gonna lose some money on this one. It's a relatively big position if this candle closes below this trend line. If it doesn't, then there's still a chance that it could bounce up. Just like this candle bounced off of this trend line here, and how this candle also bounced off of this trend line, like here, right here. You can see that, especially when the wick is like really, really long on the bottom, then basically that's a bullish sign if you're bouncing off of a strong trend line. So, yeah, I would want to see this coin close at least above like 14.22 cents, but hopefully. Like ideally, it should bounce above 0.15 cents. If not, then I'm probably going to close this position, take the loss, and potentially even short it. Especially if it closes like this, like if it closes near the lows, then that's a definite bearish sign that it's probably going to continue to dump. So I'll be looking at that. I was hoping that because this bullish candle was like a bullish engulfing candle, I thought it was gonna, take us upwards, but okay, lesson learned. Probably shouldn't have entered this position. And also, I was looking at the past when this coin was pumping near the Chinese New Year, so I mapped out. So last year, I think February 10th was the New Year. You could see on the New Year, Chinese New Year, it dumped this coin only 3%. And then it went sideways, but slowly went up until it actually pumped a lot, about 151% in 43 days. So yeah, if the coin price is holding up relatively well, then you could expect this coin to pump like this, but currently, sadly, it doesn't look like it's holding up right now. Um, and looking at 2023 Chinese New Year it occurred on January 22nd, and you can see, wow, this coin just pumping up like crazy. It went up 1,547% in about 56 days. If that happened, then wow, that'd be incredible. And the year before that, about January 31st or February 1st, around that time was the Chinese New Year. And look at how it pumped. Boom, 120% in 55 days. And how about before that? February, so 2020. And for 2021 is the new Chinese New Year was not shown the chart, so it probably wasn't even this coin probably didn't even exist before 2021 Chinese New Year, so we can't really look at how it behaved around that time. But that was one of the reasons why I decided to get into this coin. And tomorrow is Chinese New Year, so hopefully we could bounce off of this level. If not, as I said, I'll exit this position and possibly short it. But if this coin somehow is just gonna bounce and break out of this like descending trend line right here around the maybe next week or in a few days or maybe even tomorrow, even if tomorrow when the Fed meeting uh decision is out and the market is pumping and CFX is pumping, then I might get in again because especially if the technicals looks okay. But I have to trade based on technicals because whenever I don't do that, it screws me over. So that's the reason why I've learned my lesson. Anyways, so another coin that's dumping is what I talked about yesterday. It's called Venice, and this is I haven't been able to confirm with multiple official sources that this is based on DeepSeek, but I one article did mention that, and so there's a good chance it is, uh, or maybe not. I don't know, but it is a platform created by Eric Voorhees. I don't know much about him, but he's apparently is very famous in the crypto communities, and he is bringing a lot of positive sentiment to people's opinion of this coin. And yes, we are dumping right now. I think it's because this coin was airdropped to people who use a certain ecosystem, like for example, the Virtuals ecosystem on Base. If people traded on that platform, then they got airdropped. And typically, when you see a t new token that was heavily airdropped, you'll see people wanting to take profit because they want to, lock in their profit on the free money that they made. But a lot of people also will choose to hodl. So since this is, we're leading up to the interest rate decision tomorrow, it's understandable that the market is a bit cautious, so it's like selling off to, you know, reduce the risk and exposure to the market until more clarity comes out tomorrow based on the decision and also the outlook for future uh interest rate decisions and stuff like that. So it's understandable that's just dumping. But my personal opinion is that this coin will eventually pump. Um, I think there's a lot going for it. I think AI is especially because, DeepSeek, when it came out, it first of all, it's open sourced, so people can learn from this open sourced AI system by just looking at the code and hopefully learn from it and implement that into their own AI infrastructure. Uh, and which means that using DeepSeek's, what they've learned about AI is that you can, be on par with OpenAI, at a much lower cost, um, which is actually very positive for entire AI and crypto space. It's not good for big market leaders like NVIDIA because their whole narrative for pumping is that they don't have any competitors and everyone's is like just fighting to get their hands on their product because uh, AI requires so much processing power that you have to have the highest end, the best product by NVIDIA to outcompete your competitors. But DeepSeek shows that perhaps this is not the case, and you can actually get certain chips that are not high end like NVIDIA and still do extremely well with your AI language models, etc., which means that this is making AI more decentralized. It's more possible for more people to create AI, for more companies to create AI and increases competition, increases the um yeah, increases the quality of the products and drives the price down of AI, which means mass adoption of AI is a lot more possible right now due to DeepSeek, and that is very positive for the market. So, um, this is I'm very optimistic about this AI and crypto, the intersection between these two markets, and so yeah, stay tuned. We'll be watching the Fed interest rate closely. And yeah, one last thing is that if I had rolled my position like from Doge and WorldCoin into XRP, then I think I'd be doing really well instead of dumping like CFX. But um, anyways, lesson learned. And I think it was a good idea to actually roll my WorldCoin out of this my position there. After it closed below the trend line, I should have shorted it, and now it's dumping below the previous low. Um, let's see what Doge is doing. Similar with Doge as well. Yeah, I'm glad I got out of that position, but I just wish I rolled all of that money into XRP. XRP at this point is probably considered a blue chip. I mean, like it's even bigger than Solana in market cap, so it's like one of the most highly invested by institutions. So it's there's a lot of optimism in this area in XRP. So Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.